okay, we just went through a launch. Like, your list is tapped out right now.
Yeah.
What are we going to do next?
Hey, freelance copywriter crew, good morning. It's Friday, time for another episode of Copy This, Not That, where I invite an industry expert to chat with us about how copy impacts her business and how she uses copy and her team uses copy to help their clients get more sales, engagement, and following. So our guest today is Hassen. Allie is an e-commerce Shopify expert. She helps people market their products. And Allie, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out on your Friday to hang out with us.
Yeah, here we are. I love it. And thank you for having me, Christa.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us a little bit about how you got started with e-com.
Oh my gosh. So I've been thinking about this a lot this year. I don't know, our business is in a different space. So usually you get to the point where you're like, how did we even get here? What's happening? So it sounds crazy, but I've literally been doing some form of this since I was in high school. So full circle, my business would like to support career programs because I literally came from a career program. So I learned graphic design in high school. My teacher gave me like, here, you get to write the school newsletter. And like, that was it. And I've been doing some form of it since then. And so that was a career program. My parents taught in career programs as well. My dad taught a similar subject and my mom taught accounting. And then I eventually taught for 6.5 years in web design and graphic design. So that's kind of how I got here. At a certain point, I was running a photography business, and just one of those things where you're always wearing all the hats, learning the website, learning, you know how it is, learning all the different pieces. And somebody wanted to get off of Etsy and get onto Shopify. And she was like, can you make a logo? Can you make a website? What do we do with the products? Look at the listings. How do we get to the front page? And so in 2012, I built my first Shopify site for somebody coming off of Etsy. And then it's changed, and I've had a few different, I was teaching for a while. I thought maybe I would be solely a photographer for a while. And so now we kind of do all of the things in different capacities with redesigns, improving conversion rate optimization on somebody's site currently or auditing it. We do email marketing. So we're a Klaviyo partner and we're a Shopify partner. And for people, especially just getting into their career and their role, becoming a partner with a platform means you get access to reps, access to customer service, access to trainings, or being the first to know about products. So it's a really great way to build trust and authority with clients. So we're a partner with Shopify and Klaviyo, and it's been really beneficial to there's always changes. So it's just a really beneficial way to learn about the product that you're serving your clients with. And so for a while, I did Instagram and TikTok management. And, I would get with these product-based brands. And I was like, listen, I know Shopify can help you there. And now we primarily serve Shopify brands who might need some more channels and success with their channels.
I love that. I've always found that sometimes people will be like, well, I don't have a background in this, that, or the other. And I was like, well, what background do you have? How can you use that knowledge, that background, specialized information that you do have to help benefit you in the career or profession that you want to have today? I know that I come from a graphic design background as well. I created simple websites for local small businesses, and that has helped me a lot as a writer too. So it's super fun to see how many of us creatives have been in different places doing different things and have learned how to bring it together to really help create a unique and valuable experience for our clients. So I love that.
For sure. I had my first job was in sushi. I worked at a sushi restaurant. And so that was all customer service. Like, even though you're helping with to-go orders and you're seating people, like, there's a lot of customer service that, goes into being a hostess. And then I worked in several retail stores where, it was based on or sometimes it would be based on commission, or there'd be sales challenges. And I worked at an outdoor store for a while. And I just love the story because it comes down to, features and benefits so much in e-commerce and physical products. So features being the technical, analytical things, and benefits, how does it make you feel? How's this going to make your life better? So I worked in an outdoor store and I became outdoorsy, but I did not go into the outdoor store being outdoorsy or having knowledge of these things. And so there'd be sales competitions, and I'm like, I just want to win the sales competition.
I
have not been on the Pacific Trail. I have not done the entire Appalachian Trail, but I would like to win the sales competition. So just learning about features of things and the benefits has carried through all of these experiences. So those retail jobs were so beneficial and probably a big driver of like getting clients to have success, because I've tried to physically sell people things, and online you don't have that human connection, so you have to paint the picture.
Right. You don't have the real time like back and forth. I love that because I think that a lot of times as freelance copywriters, we get stuck because our clients want to focus on the features, but we know that it's really the benefits that sell. So I love that you mentioned that, because it is a combination of both. People want to know what they're getting, but they also want to know how that's going to impact their lives and what the result is on the other side of that. So if you're a freelance copywriter or you want to get into freelance copywriting, as you're watching right now, comment below, like, what are some of the things that you've done for jobs, or what's your profession now? Let us know, like, what are you focusing on now? And we can brainstorm some ideas in the group, like how you can leverage that to help grow your freelance copywriting business today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me know, like, tell me about the role of copy. Obviously, copy is in everything. It's part of what you do. It's a big part of how you communicate and what you put out there for your clients. What are some of the most important things to remember when you're writing for e-commerce?
Yeah. And I was thinking about this before. I was like, how can I kind of break up the different modes that I go in? So for now, I can kind of explain 3 different hats. Awesome. And to be honest with you, when I was getting into the social media game, I just had, and I'm sure a lot of social media managers feel this way, you have a knack for it, you like it, you enjoy it, you like telling the story. I didn't realize how much writing was in it. And I'm going to be really honest, Christa, it wasn't until I met you and learned more about like copy. Okay, I'm writing copy. Okay, this has a function within this whole, all of these steps that we're doing to write things, that I realized, I didn't realize I was getting into so much of a writing game here. But, and you've taught me so much, so thank you.
Thank you.
So the 3 kind of hats or modes that I could kind of explain is you have your website copy, and then what we focus on is email copy and ads copy. So you go into a little bit different mode, and then you have to think of where in the customer journey are we talking here. So going back to features and benefits, features are really great when we're making a purchasing decision. So let's go back to the outdoor store. This sleeping bag is rated for negative 20 degrees. This sleeping bag is rated for cool weather. That's when you're making a purchasing decision. But if you're trying to sell somebody a $300 sleeping bag, we need to know, what experience is that going to be compared to buying something off of Amazon to get you through, one trip. So you're selling to an expert camper, you're selling to somebody who has knowledge of different weather climates, even how to pack their bag differently than somebody who's just getting in the Jeep and we're going to hoop it for a night.
Out in the backyard, their kids camping out
in the backyard.
Exactly.
So that's, if we're making a purchasing decision, we write a little bit differently than if we're introducing the brand or if we're on the homepage. So where I have found a lot of people struggle, especially if it's their own proprietary product, when they're really close to it, is the product page. There's a study, and it's in my Facebook group somewhere. I should have referenced it earlier, but a very high percentage of people leave a product page because there's not enough information. And wouldn't it kill you to know that every time someone leaves your product page, there just wasn't enough information? So to break that, you do have to write features and you do have to write benefits. And then for different brands, it comes down to where are you going to fit all of that in. But if you can get an emotion and trust before you scroll that product page, that would be a good place to land for product pages. So when we're talking about email marketing, customers have complied to communicate with you. So they're probably familiar with your brand. Email marketing is really interesting because a lot of brands might feel like we're selling every time we send an email, but only a small percentage are actually buying, no matter who you are. So how can you give value in email and also be ready to sell when it's time? A lot of our brands will do very transactional emails for new product launches to customers who are like, they've been waiting, or something back in stock, and they've been waiting for it and they're familiar. So some of that messaging is just, it's back in stock, and like a picture and click to buy it. If somebody is in a welcome series because they've just opted in, a message from the founder. So that's literally ask your client, hey, what do you want to say to somebody who, like, as if you were in person with them, what would you want to say? What do you want them to know about your heart, about the company? So message from the founder, here's how to use our product. So then that becomes very feature oriented. Step 1, step 2, sign up for a reward, very instructional. Figuring out how many emails you need to write to kind of introduce them so they can get to making a purchasing decision. Email marketing, super fun. I have a client who we are testing the length of emails really for their ongoing. We have a couple different pillars that we write to. And we do have exclusive email content. And we have found, and it's interesting to me, this might interest you too, is her customers actually like long emails. And so for physical products, that's interesting because brands usually are like, let's, sell. Get on the website.
Photo one-liner. Yeah.
But a couple of paragraphs, and it's actually true across her emails and ads. So actually longer ads are converting well for her. Longer emails are converting well for her. And if you are somebody who's interested in email marketing for physical product brands, Klaviyo is the big boy platform for it. And it has just so much functionality and tracking. So I say that because we can send out an email and we can send out a short version and a long version. And we've tested this I've been testing this for about 3 weeks because I noticed okay, we're putting a lot of effort and energy. This is actually some time for the client too. Let's cut it in half and see what happens. And the click-through rates were higher when we told more of a story. And so for a physical product brand, that's really interesting and good to know. And it actually carried over to ads as well.
Yeah.
So then for ads, the third hat, I have a file of ad swipes. I need to drop it in my Facebook group, just kind of go over my thoughts about it. But so I screenshot, and I don't know if you teach your students too, like screenshot, get some inspo. So I screenshot ads, and there are so many ads out there, if you're learning e-com, where we are talking one sentence, and it's probably not even actual grammatical sentence. It's social media speak. And one sentence for ads for major brands like Tory Burch, Lily Pulitzer, makeup brands, beauty brands, purse brands, bags. You can tell what's in my ads feed. One-liners.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, it's interesting from a physical product perspective that my client's brand works exploring this longer form writing. But to get started, like try writing ads in one sentence, like one sentence ads. Like how fun is that too?
Right.
So a lot of ecom brands are having really good success with short ads for those carousel ads that are usually a purchase optimization. But like I said, we tested a little bit longer ads. I wrote copy 1, copy 2, copy 3 for several campaigns we've got going right now for this client. And the longer form, more emotional copy resonated almost across the board. So those are kind of the 3 hats that we're thinking of on the daily basis: is your product page, your email marketing, including subject lines, and ads.
Yeah. I love that too. The emphasis on testing. You really don't know
Mm-hmm.
unless you test and you have some kind of framework for here's when we're going to test and what we're going to look for. Do you have like industry specific stats that you look for as far as open rates, or do you take it like client by client and consider this is what's normal for them? Because I like to look at like what the industry
Mm-hmm.
standards are, but also I look at like clients are different, their audiences are different. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of look at both, but I don't write for ecom. So I'm totally
Mm-hmm.
interested to hear like, how do you look at the numbers and what, do you dial in
What
individually
sounds
for?
good. Yeah. So going back to the partner thing, Shopify and Klaviyo publish benchmark reports for different industries. And so you don't have to, if you're getting started in physical product brand marketing, you don't have to just know.
Yeah, I
I
get
mean,
it.
clients would like you to just know, but I say I have to research, what makes sense for your brand. Are you an outlier? Let's go. Are you
Right.
underperforming? And so both platforms offer benchmark reports. And that's really helpful for you to understand, like, how do I know if this is doing good? A lot of it's intuition. And so draw on your previous experiences. Like, how many times also, Christa, are you an ideal customer of your clients?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, there's a reason why, and trust your instinct too. But going back to your point, let's talk about on a product page. We can look at reports in Shopify that say how many people got to this page and how many people purchased, and they will actually trigger alerts for you that said this got a lot of views and isn't
Wow.
selling. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that. Thank
Mhm.
you for
Yeah.
giving me some help. Like, thank you, platform. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I know. And it could be like, oh, I know it. That's not really that good of a product. I'm not surprised. Okay. It's not even me.
Now we know. Yeah, right.
Um, and then in email marketing, so we know open rates are what they are. We have to track something. So if we can track open rates, depending on industry, like retail has high open rates and low click-through rates. In general, depending on
Mhm.
the apparel, but we do look at click-through rates. And then when we have brands with like multiple channels going at one time, we have to kind of determine, well, which, reporting natively and reporting on Shopify itself all looks different. And so we try to get everybody in Google Analytics, have a dashboard there so we can have like one place that's a
Yeah.
talking point. And then in Klaviyo, we can pull monthly reports and put that information into Google Analytics. One thing I've tested that has always stuck in my mind, and this is a point to how minute and observant, how beneficial that can be. So I had a brand whom we tested putting the sender name in all caps, and we know like all caps emails can be spammy, spam alert.
Right.
So, but just the name, it was like a 3-word brand. And so we started capitalizing the sender, and the open rates were higher. And it's like that got open rates higher. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
And we stuck with it. But how long do you stick with it? A quarter, 3 months. So usually with my clients, we get on an update plan, and we have certain things that we update by month or by quarter, or we have to turn things off at a certain point. So if it's a transactional email, yes, you're going to look at revenue, and why wouldn't you? But if you're alerting people you have a new blog post, if you're updating on, I don't know, a founder update, things like that, that's when all the data you've had before comes into play for something that's not transactional. It is intuition. It is the history of the brand. It is seasonal. So there's a lot that goes into it.
For sure, for sure. And I think one thing that comes to my mind when we're talking about testing these different variations and looking at the numbers is communicating that with the client. Like, I know for the industries that I write for, if I can set expectations with my clients as far as what we're going to look for and what's normal, that helps a lot. It's like huge. Most of my clients who are under $1 million a year, and I don't have that many, but most of mine are million or multi-million, but they have unrealistic expectations for what's normal, for what's good. So they come in and they think, well, I'm going to get an 80% open rate. And I was like, if you do, I am going to throw the biggest party ever. Like, I mean, they don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find that too? Like, setting expectations is just super important?
Yeah, and definitely it depends on the business model too, because if you're a business model who's dependent on certain sales cycles,
Mm-hmm.
emails don't change your sales cycles or your business model. So yes, I think I could even take a note from that to like just pre-frame like, okay, we just went through a launch. Like your list is tapped out right now.
Yeah.
What are we going to do next? And adjusting even, Q4 is the Super Bowl of e-commerce, and which is a very long Super Bowl.
It is. It's such a long haul.
Yeah. So, I mean, our email capacity usually doubles in November and December in terms of how deliverables. And we plan for that. And if you're somebody who's going to take on physical product brands, that could change. Like, what if you're a swimsuit brand and you're like, spring and summer in the United States is your Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Or what if you're the North Face or Patagonia, your Super Bowl is the cold weather season. So if you are an e-commerce client or an e-commerce writer, like think about that and include that in your pricing, because we pretty much don't accept clients in the fourth quarter, because what's going to happen is you're going to get the people who weren't ready. And then now that's a your problem, and it really shouldn't be. So we've learned that. There's a tip for anyone getting into physical products is last year was the first year we stopped accepting clients in the fourth quarter, because if they're not ready and they're ready to make this big transition with you, like I can tell you, I thought I was going to like ruin my kids' Halloween one year. I was like, I still have to make costumes, and they don't like this that happened, and they did not have their expectations, written out for them. This is, not a spot I ever want to be in again. And I said, no more. We're not accepting clients. If I have a good feeling, we'll accept in September, but after that, we're not. So, and I say that going back to email writing, like, the cadences change, and it is awesome to start and say, I will write, 2 emails a week for you. But the truth is, when it comes to their big season, they're going to want more. And so when it comes to pricing, is that something you're going to build into your pricing, or is that something you're going to charge more for when it comes time? It depends on how you want to build that out. And I tell my current clients, I'm like, you guys are so like, I'm not even talking to anyone other than you guys this season, and we're gonna do our best to execute. And it's just something for people to think about. They're thinking about getting into writing or website writing for e-commerce brands, because once we plan at least a quarter. In June, we're thinking about fall. I have a client with physical, a proprietary product, and she's already thinking about August. So,
That's so good to know. And if we can be having our, minds forward and thinking, then it really helps them see what a partnership it can be. Like, you're with them, you're keeping cadence and keeping in step with what their sales cycle is. So I don't know if you have team writers or whatever, but if you were looking for a freelance copywriter, what would be the questions you would ask someone, or the things that you would have them do in order for you to know, hey, this is somebody that knows what they're doing?
Yeah. So we have a Pinterest specialist on our team. And what she does is we have a Pinterest strategy that we prepare for the client. And that's somewhere around 90 pins a month. So a question I ask is, have you used Pinterest before? No. Okay. That's okay. I can train you. And so we have video training set up where if somebody comes in, they need to watch and see how our strategy is mapped out. And then they come in and they fill in what they need to fill in, and then I give feedback, and I usually say, can I give feedback to you directly for 2 weeks? And so during that first 2 weeks, like, I'm just telling you what's on my mind, sending you a loom. So really, when it comes to the specifically I have on my mind Pinterest, because I'm thinking about my assistant who does that, like, we train. And I've never seen these products before. I worked with this client, neither have you. Luckily with e-commerce, there's usually product pages already built, which is a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
So experience within a platform is helpful, and those platforms are Instagram, Pinterest, not Facebook, TikTok, and understanding the verbiage. Anytime when I was starting out that a client wanted to start with me, I would say, well, can I give you a sample before the interview was over? Can I give you a sample? Or photography, I have my camera with me. Can I give you a sample? And just be prepared to provide a sample, and not a long sample. Especially if we're talking social writing or like email writing, just say, hey, I was thinking about this, or rework something that they've already got. I think those are really great tips for getting your foot in the door. Questions that I would ask somebody are to see examples of like any social posts that you've written before. I think it's really on me to train on what I want. And I think so there's a lot of things that can be trainable for a client specifically. A good attitude and being open to learning and being honest about your time, I think, is really important to me.
Yeah. And I think too, like, not being, I don't know exactly the word I'm looking for, but not being precious about your work. Like, you are going to be serving someone else with what you do, and you have to be open to letting them speak into that and give you feedback and not take it personally. That's something that I look for, is like, are you critiquable?
Yeah.
Not like I'm criticizing you, but are you able to take critique and then turn it into results the next time, and not take it personally and not let it be something that stops you from progressing. Because I'll even, with myself, like, I cannot be attached to my writing because I'm not writing for me. And even if I was writing for me, I'm writing for my audience. So there really is, like, you have to be able to be moldable and not be attached to the feedback, or wanting to be committed to. If you want to be committed to what you write and die on that hill, then you should probably not be a copywriter, because copywriters don't write for themselves necessarily. So.
Yeah. And so many industries, I mean, going back to the camping example, like, if you haven't been camping before, like, we need to probably practice a few times before it really resonates with somebody because you're selling to people who are passionate about buying these products. The products are making people so happy. And that's what I love about the whole space, is buying people, when they buy things, it makes you happy for the most part.
Right.
So
And
yeah.
I can tell if you don't know what you're talking about. The really niche experts will be like, this is not, that description.
Yeah, they gave this to the intern to write, I think, it'll
Right.
come across that way.
They copied that from another listing.
Yeah, totally being coachable is great. And for somebody looking to work for a client, like, I mean, you and I both know that is a hill to surmount, is the expectations of clients and red flags. And I didn't think that was going to be good. And I was right when I didn't think that would be
And
good.
it is something to, kind of having to go through that and learn that, so that you trust yourself and know what to look for. But it's not fun. It's not my favorite, for sure.
Yeah.
but you live through it and you learn from it.
I
Well,
mean, a
thank
question
you.
to ask would be like, do you have any training? Like, will I get training before what does that look like?
Right.
So,
What do you have in terms of resources for me to be
mhm.
able to learn and get up to
And if
speed?
somebody asked me that question, I'd be like, I'm so glad you asked because I've been
Right.
waiting for this moment.
Right. I have all these things. I have
Yeah.
SOPs. It's so amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. Well, thank you so much for taking time with us today. I can't wait for my audience to get to know you a little bit better. Please feel free to drop links in this post once this
Okay,
video
great.
goes live so that they can connect with you outside of here. And for those of you who are watching or catching the replay, drop any questions you have below and let us know too, like what types of industries have you come from? Let us know, because I love seeing the diverse backgrounds of people who get into digital marketing, copy, and social media. We bring all of that together to
Mhm.
create unique experiences for our clients, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you
Mhm.
so much for joining us today,
Yeah.
Allie.
Thanks so much, Krista. I will talk to you soon.
All right. See you guys later.